Nowadays, we rely on electricity more than ever. It powers the lights in our homes, the equipment in our workplaces, and at times, even our vehicles. But just because electricity is useful doesn't mean it can't be dangerous. In fact, if you don't know how to work with or around electricity safely, it can be one of the most dangerous hazards in your work environment. While most of us have been shocked at some point, it typically is a low-level type of shock, often from static electricity. Electric shock is a different animal and can cause serious injuries. An arc flash is even worse and is one of the most serious types of electrical hazards. They generate extreme levels of heat and light, which can lead to severe burns, hearing loss, eye injuries, even death. So whether you're using a power tool, working around live parts, or using a control panel, you need to know how to avoid shock and arc flash situations. In this program, we'll discuss what shock and arc flash are, how they are different from each other, and how to avoid them. We'll also look at the personal protective equipment that you should wear if you are working in a potential arc flash situation, and how to create an electrically safe work condition. Most of us have been shocked at one time or another from touching things like a doorknob, metal railing, or even a sweater. That quick zap is the result of static electricity, the buildup of an electrical charge on the surface of an object. But while this type of shock is typically harmless, electric shock is a different story. Imagine that zap you felt from static electricity and multiply it by 100. Electric shocks can be extremely painful, even life-threatening. So it's important to know what can cause them. Shocks occur when an electric current runs from a source of voltage, either through your body or on the surface of your skin. We all encounter situations that can result in shocks, whether it's from a household appliance, a frayed extension cord, or a wall outlet. But when you're shocked by a piece of high-powered equipment, a live wire, or a power line, your injuries can be extremely serious, including burns, seizures, loss of consciousness, and internal organ damage. Fortunately, there are safe work practices that you can follow to reduce your risk of being shocked in the workplace. It starts with keeping your eye out for hazards such as cracked wires and defective equipment. Inspect tools and extension cords before plugging them in. If you see torn insulation or exposed wiring, don't use them. This type of damage often results from unsafe work practices, like picking up electric tools by their power cords or unplugging a cord by yanking on it instead of pulling the plug. So it's important to treat tools and cords with care. Another way you can put yourself at risk is by removing the ground prong from a 3-prong plug so you can use it in a 2-prong outlet. The grounding prong is a safety measure designed to prevent an electrical current from flowing through you in case of a fault in the equipment it is attached to. If you remove it, it can't do its job. If you find equipment with a plug that has been altered this way, don't use it. Inform your supervisor immediately so it can be repaired or replaced. Water conducts electricity and promotes shock. So whenever possible, avoid using power tools and equipment in wet conditions. And don't touch any electrical equipment that's wet. Make sure your hands are dry when you're working with electricity as well. A metal ladder behaves just like a lightning rod. So if you're working around a source of electricity, you should use non-conductive fiberglass or wooden ladders to avoid being shocked. Metal tools can be dangerous for the same reason, so always choose non-conductive tools made of wood or plastic. or tools with insulated handles when you're working around electricity. Have you ever seen a lightning bolt light up the sky during a thunderstorm? If so, you've witnessed an arc flash. As lightning moves closer, you get a better idea of its violence and destructive power, and if it gets too close, you might not survive it. While lightning occurs naturally, man-made arc flashes generally occur due to voltage spikes, touching an electrically charged surface, worn or loose connections in power cords, gaps in insulation in tools or equipment, improperly installed electrical parts, and dust buildup and corrosion on electrical equipment. So what exactly is an arc flash? An arc flash event is an electrical explosion that occurs when air becomes the conductor of electricity. This causes a heated wave of plasma that can measure up to 35,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The arc flash is the light and heat from the explosion, while the pressure wave that follows is called an arc blast, which can be powerful enough to throw you off your feet. The heat an arc flash gives off can be up to 3.5 times hotter than the surface of the sun, so an arc flash will instantly superheat the air and can vaporize nearby structures and equipment. During an arc flash event, the clothes of anyone in the area can be ignited and burn their skin. The light, heat, and pressure wave can also cause eye injuries and hearing loss. Arc flash events send several thousand workers to burn units every year. They cause traumatic injuries, and they kill. So how does a man-made arc flash happen? Most of the time, energy moves safely through electrical systems, unless something occurs to divert the power. When diverted electricity jumps through the air from contact to contact, or from contact to ground, that's an arc flash. This can occur spontaneously when corrosion or conductive dust builds up in equipment. But most arc flashes result from mistakes that are made when someone is working on or near an electrical system. Touching a probe to the wrong circuit or dropping a metal tool into an electrical system, even digging into an underground cable, can all cause an arc flash. Like lightning, these types of arc flashes happen very, very fast, releasing huge amounts of light and heat energy. In a matter of seconds, an arc flash event can permanently change or even end a worker's life. But by examining how arc flashes occur, we can gain a better understanding of what we can do to protect ourselves from them. For starters, you need to be familiar with your company's Electrical Safety Program, ESP. Your workplace is required to have one under NFPA 70E, the consensus standard for electrical safety. This program helps you stay safe when you're working around sources of electricity by outlining safety policies, safe work procedures for specific tasks, risk assessment procedures, and how to report and investigate electrically related incidents. While it is your employer's responsibility to create and establish this program, it is up to you to familiarize yourself and comply with it. The light released by an arc flash is literally blinding, and its heat can result in first, second, and third-degree burns. It can cause everyday clothing to burst into flames and result in some synthetic fibers actually melting into your skin. So the use of personal protective equipment, PPE, when working in electrically hazardous environments is especially important. This is why electrical workers always put on arc-rated protective clothing when they approach a potential arc flash source. Its arc rating describes how much heat the clothing can resist without damage. To calculate the arc rating you need for a particular task, you should determine how many units of heat you would receive if an arc flash occurred in the equipment that you're working on. You can then choose clothing with an arc rating that meets or exceeds the protection level for that amount of heat. When there is the danger of a head injury, you should wear an arc-rated hood, balaclava, or a face shield. You can protect your arms and hands with rubber-insulated gloves and sleeves with built-in protectors. And don't forget about your feet. Insulated or leather footwear can provide protection against electric shock and arc flash events. But remember, PPE is the last line of defense. Without other protective measures, it can't prevent every type of injury by itself. So you need to adhere to safe work practices too. For instance, you can become better informed about the equipment that you're working with by familiarizing yourself with its labels. So you need to be sure that the labels are legible. If a label isn't durable enough to withstand the environment it is in, or you have trouble reading it, notify your supervisor. All switchboards, panels, meter socket enclosures, and motor control centers should be labeled with their nominal system voltage, arc flash boundary, minimum clothing arc rating, and the site-specific level of PPE that should be used when working with them. The best way to reduce the risk of an arc flash is to create an electrically safe work condition before any electrical work begins. This starts with powering down or de-energizing the equipment you're going to be working on. But in recently updated guidance, OSHA emphasizes that simply de-energizing equipment does not eliminate shock and arc flash hazards. It's just one step toward establishing an electrically safe work condition. Another issue is that in many cases, it can be all too easy for someone who can't see the people who are working on a piece of equipment to turn the electricity back on again. That's why the power control system must be locked out and tagged after being turned off. This physically prevents the equipment from being re-energized. Your company should have written procedures for this in its electrical safety program, including up-to-date drawings and single-line diagrams that you can easily follow for all electrically powered equipment. But even when it's locked and tagged, equipment must still be treated as if it's energized and a potential arc flash hazard until it has been tested to make sure the power really is off. This means that the electrical workers who are servicing the equipment must continue to adhere to safe work practices and wear protective clothing and PPE. Another important step in creating an electrically safe work condition is establishing an arc flash boundary. To find out where this boundary should be, you need to know the distance from the equipment where the incident energy of an arc flash would equal 1.2 calories of heat per square centimeter. Fortunately, this information is typically shown on the equipment's label. This distance is where the arc flash boundary will be set up. The boundary must be clearly labeled and physically restrict access to the area. Although you can still experience an arc flash burn from outside of the arc flash boundary, the burn is less likely to be a second-degree burn or worse. So unqualified electrical service personnel and other workers should never cross an arc flash boundary line. Even qualified electrical workers shouldn't cross the boundary unless they are wearing appropriate protective clothing and PPE with the right arc rating. When you are testing equipment to verify an ESWC, remember to use a known source of voltage to ensure that the test instrument is working correctly before and after you use it on each circuit part. This is called the live-dead-live test and will help to make sure that your results are accurate. Only when it is verified that the power is off does an electrically safe work condition exist? In rare cases, you might need to do work where an electrically safe work condition does not exist. This is called justified energized work. For instance, it might not be feasible to de-energize equipment when it could interrupt power in a hospital. In these cases, OSHA emphasizes that you must still use strict safety measures to minimize workers' exposure to electrical hazards. Preventing arc flash situations in your workplace largely depends on the practices of the qualified electrical workers who are servicing the equipment. But there are things that other employees can do to help keep themselves safe when electrical work is being done. First, if you're not qualified and authorized to operate or work on electrical equipment, you shouldn't try. Small mistakes with high-voltage equipment can have big consequences. That's why it's also a good habit to stay clear of electrical equipment and potential arc flash sources under any circumstances. Warning labels make arc flash sources easy to recognize so you can keep your distance. And if an electrical worker has set up an arc flash boundary, don't cross it. If you are a qualified electrical worker, you still need to use caution. For example, you must stay alert and aware throughout the entire job. If you're feeling tired, sick, or distracted, alert your supervisor immediately. You should look for safety signs and barricades that have been put up to keep you safe as well. You'll also need to make sure that the area you'll be working in has proper lighting. If you can't see what you're doing, you can't safely perform a task. Similarly, you should never blindly reach into areas that could contain exposed electrical conductors or circuits. You should also avoid wearing anything that could be conductive, such as jewelry, watches, keychains, or even metal-framed glasses. And any doors or hinged panels must be secured. Otherwise, they could swing into you, exposing you to the active electricity inside. If your work area is cluttered or messy, this could also pose an electrical hazard. So before you start any job, always make sure the surrounding area is neat and clean. You can be shocked or experience an arc flash event in the blink of an eye, but it can impact the rest of your life. So you need to know the safe work practices, tools, and personal protective equipment you should use to protect yourself when you're around electrical equipment. Let's review. An electric shock occurs when a current runs from a source of electrical voltage through your body or on the surface of your skin. An arc flash event involves an arc flash itself, the light and heat, and an arc blast, the pressure wave that follows. Before you undertake any electrical work, you should be familiar with your company's electrical safety plan. Read the labels of the equipment you will be servicing and put on the proper PPE. You should always establish an electrically safe work condition by powering down the equipment you'll be working on, locking and tagging it out, and testing it to verify there is no active voltage. If you aren't qualified to work with electricity, you should never try to. Always adhere to safety boundaries and look for any warning signs regarding potential electrical hazards. When you are doing electrical work, it's important to stay alert and aware, and keep your work area clear of clutter at all times. Now that you know what electric shock and arc flash are and how you can avoid them, you can help to keep yourself, your coworkers, and your workplace safe every day.